With it looking more and more likely that Donald Trump will win a second term, we have to look at what a second term would actually look like. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today it is time to talk about the 2024 presidential election, because everyone, as we get closer to November, it's looking more and more likely that Donald Trump will win a second term. I mean, let's face it. Basically, every metric is favoring Trump at this point. Could it change? Of course it can. But as of now, it's looking like he's probably going to win. Now, with that in mind, there are many questions surrounding what a second term for Trump would actually entail. And a lot of people are going to say, well, he did nothing his first term, which is false. And they're going to say, well, that means he's going to do nothing his second term. But he is actually promising quite a bit more that I think he could actually accomplish in his second term. But first, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $1 a month, you can join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. So let's get right into it, and NBC News actually has a very good article detailing what Trump is at least promising he would do in a second term. And I know many people are going to say, but he didn't keep his promises the first time. Well, that's not true. He did keep a lot of his promises. Yes, he did overstate what he was going to do for, say, the wall, but let's face it. He had to deal with Paul Ryan for 2 years. The 2 years he had majorities in both chambers, he was stuck. He was stuck dealing with the Paul Ryans of the world, focusing on cutting Social Security instead of, hey, securing the border. But this time around, he doesn't have to worry about a Paul Ryan type. I mean, if Republicans keep the House, which I would say there's a good shot of it, he's going to have Speaker Mike Johnson, who might not be perfect, but he is a lot better than Paul Ryan or what Kevin McCarthy potentially would have been. So let's get right into it. At a Donald Trump rally, it is often off-the-cuff one-liner that ends up driving headlines. In between, in speech after speech, the former president is laying out an aggressive and ambitious policy agenda for a second term, one that makes elements of his first term in the White House look mild in comparison. So, some people are going to claim, well, this is just the same thing as 2016, but it's just now in 2024. The problem with this thinking is, like I said, he had to deal with Paul Ryan for 2 years. This time, he's more than likely going to deal with someone like Mike Johnson. So the agenda, there's a lot of big stuff in it, let's be clear, but I think it's much more attainable this time around. Most of the agenda items aren't brand new. On immigration and other issues, Trump is making a lot of the same promises he did during his 2016 campaign that never came to fruition due to a lack of congressional support or limitations on his executive authority. Even NBC News recognizes, yeah, his first, especially 2 years, he did not have the support in Congress, despite it being a Republican majority, mind you, to get much of what he wanted to do actually done. But there are some unique areas Trump is focused on now that telegraphed a more hardline approach if he returns to office. Trump makes many consequential pronouncements suddenly, like his recent statement about letting Russia attack a NATO ally that wasn't paying enough for defense. How is that bad, by the way? I know I haven't really talked about this, but what Trump said about NATO is right. If they're not going to pay their fair share, it's 2%. That's all they got to pay, and if they refuse to do that, sorry, you're not going to get the defense of the United States. I think that's fair. There's no reason for us to pay for your military. That's absurd. But here's some of the campaign promises Trump is repeating most often from the campaign trail. Immigration was perhaps the biggest driving force policy-wise behind Trump's 2016 campaign. That's an understatement. Now he has unofficially deemed it the top priority of his 2024 White House bid, speaking in depth about it during every campaign speech he has given. On my first day back in the White House, I will terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration, stop the invasion of our southern border, and begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. Yeah! Trump is promising Operation Wetback, but for the year of 2024. I mean, that alone makes me excited for a second term. It's not just, oh, we're going to increase deportations. No. We are going to entail Operation Wetback, but make that look like small potatoes. That's good. Trump made similar promises back in 2016 that he wasn't able to keep, deporting fewer people than President Obama did in each of his 2 terms, according to federal government data, which is misleading because at the same time, illegal immigration was down. And that's a big thing a lot of people talk about. They're saying, well, he deported less people than Obama. Yeah. Outside of, I believe it was 2019, he had far less illegal immigrant crossings than Obama ever did. So yeah, of course, deportations went down. If anything, Republican voters might be more animated by border and immigration policy now. And NBC News' latest poll showed Trump's biggest policy advantage over President Joe Biden was on the subject of securing the border. Trump has also promised not only to reinstate his travel ban targeting certain Muslim-majority countries, but to expand the ban to include Gazan refugees and institute certain ideological screenings for all immigrants, which I'm very glad Trump is talking about this. I mean, let's face it. How many people that are immigrants now hate America? I'm just being honest. There are a lot of them. It sucks, but true. 100 years ago, basically every immigrant that came to America, they were gracious for it. They were proud to be Americans. They were glad, hey, this country let me in. Now, a lot of these immigrants now, they're just spoiled. They're like, oh, screw America, blah, 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 blah. It's like, wait, you hate America, but you moved here? No. I banned refugees from Syria. I banned refugees from Somalia. Very dangerous places. That's an understatement. And from all the most dangerous places all over the world, I banned them, Trump said. Which, they're trying to make this sound like it's some racist stuff. It's like, no. Let's face it. Syria and Somalia have a lot of problems. They're some of the most dangerous places in the world. There are a lot of terrorists in Syria. That's just a fact. That's nothing, not some religious or some racist crap. No, that's just a fact. There are a lot of dangerous people from Somalia or Syria. The former president has projected a my way or the highway approach on international dealings, floating the idea of a universal 10% tax on all goods coming from countries outside the United States in an attempt to prioritize domestic production. Amazing. 10%, yes. We are not going to get screwed by China any longer. You don't want to act fair? Fine. Here's a 10% tariff on all your crap. I mean, people make it sound like the United States has never had tariffs. For most of the country's history, we had tariffs. A large chunk of the budget came from tariffs. On the campaign trail, Trump often generalizes his economic approach as America first, threatening big tariffs on goods from companies that choose to outsource labor and production from the U.S. Yes. Who gives a crap if, oh, my GDP goes down by 1%? Like, freaking these think tanks, center-right think tanks. Who cares if GDP goes down by 0.1%? Who cares if prices goes up slightly, which it won't? And that's what they claim, that prices will skyrocket and the GDP will go down. No. Standards of living would increase. The quality of the product would increase. We want to make stuff in America, not cheap Chinese crap. Trump has suggested using the National Guard to address crime, which he argues is worse than it's ever been. The former president often alludes to expanding the military domestically to address crime in cities, referring to Washington, D.C. and Chicago as crime dens. Trump has vowed to intervene with military force without gaining the necessary permission from local leaders. Yeah, listen, I am not a big fan of using the military like this. I'm not. But at some point, when these local leaders are flat out refusing to do a damn thing, screw it. You need to call in the military. Again, I don't want martial law or something crazy, but a lot of these cities, these leaders are doing nothing. They're just like letting criminals off the hook and then doing nothing about actual crime. They're focused on, well, we have to make sure that the criminals, they feel good about themselves or some crap like that. It's like, really? Who cares how the criminals think? They're bad people. So I'm glad that Trump is talking about, hey, cracking down on crime, which there could be some legal questions about, can he do this one? This one's a bit I'm skeptical on. I like the idea of, hey, get the National Guard in and fix the crime. So there's also stuff about the Department of Education, which I'm not that big of a deal. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm glad that we're finally going to have some talks about maybe the Department of Education, maybe it shouldn't exist. It really shouldn't, but whatever. At least Trump is talking about it. I want to make that big of a deal about it. It's like, whatever, just cut if you want, reform it, whatever. But the last big one is this. Political retaliation against Biden. One of Trump's most consistent talking points on the trail centers on his intention to prosecute Biden if he regains executive power. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of America, Joe Biden, and go after the Biden crime family. Trump said in June at his Bedminster, New Jersey residence, just hours after being arraigned at a federal courthouse in Miami on charges alleging willful retention of classified documents. Now, I hate to say it, but I highly doubt Trump can really do much against Biden. I mean, let's face it. They're not going to be able to charge him with anything. I mean, they're already saying we can't charge him now because he would get off scot-free because a jury would feel bad for him because he can't remember anything. So, I don't really think Trump can really accomplish this. I wish he could. Like, hey, some of these people are corrupt. They need to go down. I mean, we're not talking about when Biden was the president. It's when he was the vice president and had dealings with China, Ukraine, and God knows what other foreign entity. But other than that, I really don't think Trump can go after Biden. It just sucks, but I would just say launch an investigation, but don't expect much. If you really think Biden will have a day in jail, no. He will not have a single day spent in jail. But who knows? Maybe something crazy happens and they find some real bad stuff. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.